ladies and gentlemen, Brandy J's podcast, A Voice to Be Reckoned With, would like to thank you for making the right choice in choosing a podcast that moves a nation. And now, here she is in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm here with Michael Glenmore from A City Like Yours, and we're discussing bullying and his experience he had with bullying growing up and what impacts it made and what he did. So guys, let's give him a warm welcoming and thank him for coming to share with us something that's very dear to our hearts. Welcome, Michael Glenmore. Hey everybody, welcome to my show, Brandy Joy's A Voice to Be Reckoned With, Season 3. Today I have here with me Michael Glenmore from A City Like Yours, and he's here to hang out with us and touch on the topic of bullying today. Hey Michael, are you there?
Hey, Brandy. Yes, thank you for asking me to join you again.
Yes, most definitely. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for accepting.
Okay, so we're going to talk about bullying. I did experience bullying in my childhood. I'm 58, so it was a ways back, but I'm gay, or at the time I identified as gay. Now I'm bisexual, asexual, so I identify as being asexual now. But back in the day, I was picked on and bullied because of my sexuality. I don't think that I was, effeminate or anything like that. Somehow they just picked up on it, the bullies, and they would do things like call me faggot and queer boy and things like that. I never got physically attacked or anything, fortunately, but I did. But it was very, very difficult because it was a daily thing, and I'd be walking across the quadrangle in the high school, and someone from the second floor would shout out "faggot," and it just made me my self awareness, and it made me feel self-conscious, and like, why are these guys picking on me? I have done nothing to them, and that's really how bullying is. It's not that someone causes someone else to bully them. It's just that the bully sees a target they think is below them and someone they could, get over on or what have you. So anyway, during that time, I was in junior high school, and it just got to the point where I couldn't deal with it any longer, and I was thinking about dropping out of high school. I was introduced to a program called School Away from School, which is a special school for people who either they have pregnant girls there who they can't be in a normal school because they're pregnant, so they would go to School Away from School. And also they had people who've been bullied, and also people who maybe have gotten into a lot of fights and suspended quite a bit. It was just a means for you to go ahead and get your education, to finish your diploma without having to go through the GED program, which I'm not saying anything against the GED program. That's a great thing to have. And that's an option. If you're being bullied, you can always think about, well, I could get my GED and then move on to college and things would be better. So that is an option. My option, though, was for this place called School Away from School. You went every day, you kind of worked at your own pace, and you finished courses, in the pace that you could actually work them. So a lot of people graduated early because they just, did all the courses quickly and got out of there. I kind of took my time and wound up being there for 2 years and graduated with the diploma. And I could have walked at my school during their graduation ceremony, but I chose not to because I didn't want to see anybody that had bullied me. But and another option that I think people who are being bullied and are maybe suicidal, that's the point where you want to make sure that something's going on. Homeschooling is also an alternative if you have a parent who is willing to homeschool you. So think about that. Think about school away from school if there's one in your in your state or your city, and also think about getting the GED program. Those are three options there that will get you out of the bullying that you're dealing with in school. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Wow, that's a story there. You went through.
That was a mouthful. Sorry.
No, yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother. You brought light to how bullying is not something you let them know. Bullying is not something that we make happen to us. It's just because some people be like, well, what do? You probably I hear that sometimes with people try to find some blame in maybe the kid, or tell them, well, maybe if you did this, or I had somebody tell my son one time that he was, in a way, she kind of said he was socially awkward, and probably kids don't receive. She said, I couldn't believe she said it because the position she had. But I was like, yeah, what's that have to do with anything?
Yeah, bullying's been around for a long
different.
time, and it's not getting any better. I think it's getting worse because a lot of the kids are being physically attacked. Back in my day, it was more of a bully shouting things at me, but today I hear so many stories of children being physically attacked, so they're having to deal with the verbal abuse and the physical abuse daily, and it's just really upsetting to me that kids wind up taking their own lives because they don't feel they have a way to get away from the bullying, but they really do. And something also that I say a lot is that if you're being bullied, just realize that that's not going to last forever. You're more than likely, once you graduate, you're more than likely never to see your bully again. You can go to college, and I'm not saying that people in college don't get bullied, but it's very likely that once you get to college or you get into a career, you're never going to be bullied again. So it's something that is temporary. It's during your school years. It's during your adolescence into your teens. It's very difficult to deal with, but it will get better.
Yeah, definitely will get better. Yeah, definitely. Because that's such a it's that's why I really wanted you to do this, because we've got to embed this into their heads, because sometimes we make decisions and we can fix them and come back from them, and then there's this one here that there's no return, and it's like, where have we dropped the ball when our babies have use this as their outlet? Somewhere, somehow, we've missed something. I hold all adults, accountable. The parents, the staffs, the teacher, everybody, officers, even our leaders, our nation's leaders, because we all know what's going on.
Yeah, there seems to be a kind of disconnect with adults during these situations. They tend to look the other way, but they really need to get more involved. I think in schools there needs to be more programs dealing with bullying, identifying bullying, and some solution to bullying. And one of the things that would definitely help is having an adult intervene, perhaps taking the child aside, saying, look, it's not you, it's their problem, not your problem. And but being more vigilant, seeing it happen, making them stop. Don't punish the bully, the person being bullied, and do what you can to separate the bullier with the bullied.
Yes, everything you said right now is on point. Because when I'm around the children, I pay very close attention. I catch it. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna find it somewhere. Those kids are just mean. And I listen and I linger around, and I'll address maybe the bully. And I'll pull the bully, the one being bullied to the side, and let them know, it's okay. This doesn't make it true just because they say it. Then I'll also have a talk with the person that's, bullying. But you have to, like you say, you have to be vigilant. You have to stop it. You can't just look past it and brush it off, because you just can't. You have to get on it every time it happens. It can start from the smallest thing. Just like this one boy, they were talking about his shoes, and I just thought that was just the most nastiest behavior. You know what I mean? Because his shoes didn't look like yours. And that's where parents have to realize when they buy these shoes and all this stuff for these kids, you got to let them know too. Like, install things, make them, hopefully they're working for them or doing something for them, but also let them know that just because you have these, you know what I mean? You have to kind of do that, because these kids don't even know any better. They actually believe this stuff, and they laugh at the kids that look a certain way.
Yeah, back in my day, it was a pair of jeans, the designer jeans that everybody had to have, and they were expensive, and a lot of parents can't afford to get these jeans for their child. So that means that there's a child who's left out, who doesn't have the same garb that the popular kids have, so therefore they feel that they're probably less than what can be expected. I'm all for wearing school uniforms. A lot of schools here in Shreveport, Louisiana, where I'm from, have gone to school uniforms, and that pretty much takes away the aspect of being dressed to the nines and being the person who has the style and versus the person who is not dressed to the nines, the person who maybe can't afford those sneakers or that pair of jeans that is all the rage. So I'm very for school uniforms and having it kind of, because that kind of makes it a even playing field.
Yeah, we have school uniforms, but the shoes, those right there, they can wear whatever shoes they like.
Oh, see, that's a mistake there.
And on Friday, it's free dress. Yeah.
I don't understand that. If they have uniforms, why do they have a day where you can dress however you like?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's like they don't do that. Like, yeah, me neither. It's just like, I guess it's like, okay, free dress days, like a relaxed day, but it's like, no, you gotta really think about that. How does it? I mean, and then some kids will still wear their uniform, because that's what they have. And then the other kids are like, why are you wearing a uniform? You didn't know it was free dress day? And it's like, come on, just like lay up off this kid, and let them be. But parents, I blame parents. You know what I mean? It's like you're making your child think that this is the way, and that there's people that don't have it like that, and it could easily be you too one day. So,
well, it would be so easy for the school district to, when they implement the uniform, to also implement a certain shoe. They make the uniforms available. You can, sometimes it's you can wear a polo shirt or a pullover or something, but it's all in maybe the blue and khaki or something like that. And then they could just mandate that the shoes are this type of shoe. That way they'll get away from having because I know shoes are real popular now. Adidas and Nike, really expensive shoes, hundreds of dollars for a pair.
Yeah, Jordans, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, altogether. I mean, when you're out of school, wear your shoes, your Michael Jordans, or Michael Jordan Air, or whatever you have. Wear those around the house, or when you go out at night, or you're out with your family. But during the school period, while you're at school, that should be something that is more uniform.
Yep, I totally agree. I know there's some schools out here that are like that. They don't mess around. If you have the wrong type of belt or tennis shoe string, they'll call your parents so they can come bring you the correct, attire. But I don't know. Now, if you're not wearing your uniform, they do crack down on you. They'll definitely have your parent come and get you, or or they'll put you in another class or something. But you have to wear the right uniform. But the shoes, that's the one everybody's focused in on.
Yeah, when I was in school, we didn't have school uniforms, so that was a problem at the high school I went to. I don't know if that's what caused my bulliers to pick on me. If it was the clothes I was wearing, because they never said that, they just called me names. But it may be one of the things. I remember I got my hair cut to a real short buzz cut, and that set them off again. And I later realized that style was popular in the gay community, so that kind of marked me as being gay. And whereas I hadn't come out to anybody, nobody knew for sure that I was, not even my close friends. I was so in the closet. But so I got that haircut, and come to find out that was a style that was known in the gay population as being very stylish at the time. So that kind of shot myself in the foot.
Yeah, kids, I tell you. But, just with that too, it's like as adults, if we did a lot better on like teaching our kids about the values and how people are different, like, when, like, I hear a lot of kids at school, I'll hear them tell the other one, that's gay, and I have to stop them, you know what I mean? So I'm like, why? Now you're taking this word that they learned from home and using it, that it's a community, and you're using it in a negative manner, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is definitely something that happens.
Yeah.
Faggot and queer and gay and you're gay. Those are trigger words. And when you, especially if you're not gay and you're having that happen to you, that's a big thing. Or if you're in the closet like I was, who I didn't want everybody to know that, yes, okay, I am gay. As I turned out to be bisexual later, but while I was in high school, I was still, I wasn't sure of my sexuality. So I was still kind of, dealing with that on my own. And that was enough without having somebody call me names every day and make me feel really bad. And so, it just got to the point where I had to get out. And, fortunately, I didn't commit suicide. I was able to get to a school that did not happen. And I just can't stress enough that kids, they don't ever need to reach the point of killing themselves. That is just horrible. That's something that you can't come back from. Once you've done that, you're gone, and you're leaving your family behind to suffer. And it will get better. Stick with it. Go do what you have to do. Get a GED. Go to another school. Whatever you need to do to either later on go to work or go to college. And not guarantee that your life will be improved once you get away from your bully.
I always say, just because they say it doesn't make it true. That's just their own insecurities. I tell them they don't like themselves. That's what it is. Yeah, for sure. And like you said before in the beginning, that yours didn't manifest into a physical contact. And now in these days, bullying has went from how it was back in the day, and it's evolved, manifested into it's a total, like, just crazy. And I remember a while back I did like a little show with a guy named Jeremy Roderick, and he's like into like he does family therapy and all that stuff, and works with children, and he had broke down exactly what bullying was, like in different levels. And when you got to the physical part, so now this is now called assault. I was like, that's right. It's assault. When you physically harm somebody, it's illegal. It's assault. And he said, and that's what kids need to. The person being bullied needs to know how to the level they're at and what they need to do. And it's like, now you're beyond bullying. He said you can assault.
You could notify the police for something like that.
Yeah, but kids don't know their rights. It's so different inside schools. It's like, if I'm down here on the street, right, and then I go pummel somebody and do them, I'm going to jail. So when you're in the school, it's kind of like, okay, well, just don't do, it's not taken as seriously. But I think that's because, well, obviously they don't want that to, to be there, that's a good look, not a good look for them, but, it's not even about that. But it becomes when it's the parent or that child's decision what they're going to do next. But they don't know that they have those rights. The children have rights. They shouldn't have to go to school and have to, have someone be able to hit you, to, invade your personal space and harm you, and nothing is done. Because if it happened on the outside of the school, it would play out differently.
Yeah, it's very scary the way that the school atmosphere is so different than what's going on in real life. It's so overblown. Everything's bigger than what it probably should be, and that's part of that is the thinking that, okay, I'm helpless here. There's nothing that can be done about what's going on to me, when actually there is something that can be done, and something can be done, with involving law enforcement. And when you get the law involved, that makes people stand up and notice. I mean, I guarantee the bully would back down, and so would the parents that don't realize that their child is a bully. Once they get to that point where, okay, the police are here, and they want to talk to my child because my child got physical with another child at school, you guarantee those parents are going to crack down on that. Hopefully,
and
at least.
the school's going to crack down more too. They're going, oh shoot, now we got to make sure that we are, doing what we're supposed to do. Zero tolerance means zero tolerance. You just
Yeah.
can't say it. You got to actually mean it. For sure. Well, I'm very happy that we brought light to that we both were able to talk about this, because I wanted my parents to know, because some parents feel helpless, and some of them were the parents of the victims that took their lives. They were trying to get help, and the school for saying they couldn't, and that so many children. It just was all it's going in circles. And then when it came down to it, that child ended up taking their life. School didn't want nothing to do with it. They didn't want to speak about it. They didn't even say give condolences, and the kids never got punished. And a lot of stories it goes on like that, and I just don't understand how they can all just get away with that.
I wonder how that makes the bully feel when the child that they were attacking and bullying committed suicide. When they know that it was their fault for what happened. How did they? What is their thought process? Does it have an effect on them? Too late, but does it have an effect at some point?
I think it can. I went on Facebook Live last night, and I actually spoke about that. I said the domino effect that it takes when no one does anything. And kids, they do stuff, and they probably didn't mean for it to go to another place, go to that place, and then find out the kid that they had a part in, bullying, took their own life. That could lead into them, you know what I mean? So many different things, taking theirs, or just falling apart and just a deep dark hole. Drugs, alcohol. It could get worse or it could get better, but it's going to affect them in some kind of way. It's going to be either good or it's going to be bad. So,
well,
yeah.
I personally want to thank you, Brandy, for what you do to highlight bullying. I know that I'm not the first guest you've had on to talk about bullying. Could you go ahead and maybe talk a little bit about the experience you've had with other guests and kind of the trend that you're seeing?
For sure. Well, with other guests, what I do know that is a similarity is that no one did anything. It was all I was always wondering, during their stories, and I would ask afterwards, who stopped it? Who did anything? But where did you go when this was happening? That was like not, you know what I mean, a thing. There was one guest. He was on. He goes by the name of Chuck Nasty Nation. But he was bullied. He was on both ends of it. He came into a school. He was bullied, but then he became a bully. Because he didn't know. He just wanted to fit in. You know what I mean?
Probably wanted to get that control back.
Yeah. And then he ended up being on the side of being the bully of the bullies. You know what I mean? So he had like different parts in it, because then he didn't want to be a bully. He wanted to help the kids that were being bullied. So, but he ended up eventually, there was someone that did take a liking and helped him, you know what I mean? And so, there was, an adult, because I was just trying to figure out where's the adults in this whole thing, and I wasn't hearing too much of it. Like, how do you navigate through this by yourself? I also had a guest, she dealt with a lot of bullying growing up. A lot of them weren't physical. I found I think majority of the ones didn't get to the physical place, but still played a major part into their adult life. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, that this is normal, it's a kid thing," and that's not true. Some people carry that all the way until the effects until they're an adult. My experience when I was younger, mine didn't get physical, and I was able to end it quickly. Hi, I'm Brandy J, a voice to be reckoned with. And if you didn't know already, Anchor is definitely a place that you want to go to record a podcast. No minimum listenership. It's free, guys. I mean, they give you these creation tools that are so easy to use.
to put together an amazing show like mine, A Voice to Be Reckoned With. And I'm on season 3. Okay? You can distribute your podcast to places like Google Cast, Spotify, so much more. And did I already say minimum listenership? I mean, you can record and people can find you in your audio library and listen to you whenever they want, wherever they want. You can record on your phone, in your car, in your bathroom, in your room. Doesn't matter. Your voice can be heard. Your voice can be a voice to be reckoned with. Also, so please go now. Go to Google Play or Anchor.fm. Please, don't miss out. Go now. Join Anchor.
Teach kids how to treat each other. You know, they have to be learned, and you have to show them. I said you could put programs, and that's what I want to do with stopping the pain. You know what I mean? I want to make this a point where, definitely for parents, because there's helpless parents out here that want to help their children, don't know how. And then I want to be able to, lost my train of thought there for a moment, do something where kids can come together. Maybe those bullies, you know what I mean, and that child that's being bullied, and you find out they have more in common than they actually, they do. Because that bully, that's bullying others, that's pain too. That's coming from somewhere, and it's being put off somewhere else. So all of it is just pain. So to stop the pain, even that bully, you know what I mean? I don't want the bullies to be shown in a negative light. And like you just said, like what if something happens? They find out that they were the cause, part of the cause of a child taking their life, and now their life is ruined. And when it could have been stopped by someone that knew what was going on, but it wasn't on the radar, So stopping the pain. I definitely want it all around, the parents' pain, the bullies, and then just like show them how to get along with each other, because there's a future. We got to give them a platform to even, what are they going to do? If we don't give them a fighting chance to even be able to make it.
Yeah. I think it may be getting better. I don't know. What is your sense? Does it seem to you that maybe we're on a upswing where bullying's being more thought about and talked about, and solutions are being given? Do you think that maybe that is happening, or do you think maybe it's as bad as it was and worse because now it's more physical to a lot of students?
There is, I think that as far as being talked about more, I would say, I think a little bit more, because we had everybody knows that we have all these there's a whole lot of them, organizations and stuff. And even Lady Gaga, I looked at her, it's called Born This Way, for her mom. They have one too for bullying. And a lot of people don't know about it, but nobody's like talking. And now I'm starting to notice that people are starting to pick up on it and reach out and say, hey, I have a story, or hey, you know what I mean? And they're saying something, But it needs a lot of improvement, because it's talking happening, but it's not happening in the right places. It's not happening in the schools. You know what I mean? It's still like, that's
something that something we don't realize too, is that bullying doesn't always take place exclusively in school setting. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can have the neighborhood bully. Yep. Yeah. So you really have to be vigilant and have your eyes open all the time to, watch your child, make it to where your child can confide in you, so that they can come to you and say, hey, Mom, or hey, Dad, I'm being bullied. I really need help. What can we do? And that could be either in school or in the neighborhood. So, I don't want to just focus totally on school. It seems like school is the worst place.
Yeah, it is.
Because everybody's congregated.
Crazy though, right? But it's crazy though, right? Because there's adults there. You would think it'd be the less place.
Yeah, it's the atmosphere is, all these students in one place, at one time. Mm-hmm. Outside of school, it's more spread out. But inside of school, it's very like a microcosm of of a test tube or whatever, of all these kids. You just don't know how it's going to boil over, and become festered, and you what you wound up with is a nasty situation.
Yeah. So we have so many ways and like all these opportunities where we can bring so much, unity together in a school, and these programs we could put out there for them to be able to get along with each other, and that could change the bully around. Like, what about the program? We have a program for the bully, right? For the one being bullied. What about a program for the bullies? You know what I mean? And then wouldn't that be great to see a program that took a bully and changed their lives around, and they became more, you know what I mean? And then they became that one helping other kids that are bullies, and like I think that's a beautiful thing.
I often wonder what it's like for the bully when they grow older. Do they realize then that, I was a real bad person in school. I really was horrible to so-and-so. I wish that hadn't happened. How much do they take responsibility for their actions when they were a child, basically? Yeah. And they're adult now. And, so do they give it a thought, or are they still a bully, maybe,
as
an adult?
Yeah, there's some that are, and then it plays out in their children.
We also focus, or at least I do, on the high school years, but I know with your son, that he's much younger. So, bullying takes place in grade school, junior high, and high school, not just high school. That's where mine was the worst, was in high school. But, I know that the reality is bullying takes place throughout the school system, regardless of the age groups. So that's another thing that, I think from the very beginning in school, kids need to be taught about bullying. And, maybe when they're in kindergarten, even start, have some type of program where kids see a video, or they listen to a story of someone who was bullied, or listen to the story of someone who was a bully and grew up and realized how bad they were. Things like that can really help. I know that, money is very tight for a lot of school systems, so that would be just an additional cost, but I think it's a cost that would be well worth the effort. In a City Like Yours is a podcast about people with interesting stories. I ask my guests to come on the show and relate a story that happened to them in their life that has changed them in some significant way, and that could be good or bad. I have talked to a young man, well, he's in his 30s now, who was bullied in high school and what he had to go through. He was physically abused. And I've talked to various types of people. So the stories are a wide range of things. So I think there's something interesting for everybody. You don't have to listen to every podcast, but you can go on there and read the show notes to find out what the podcast is about. And I'm sure you'll find something that would interest you. Once again, it's called In a City Like Yours. And you can find it on all popular podcast platforms, as well as on my website, inacitylikeyours.com. And I hope you give us a listen.
Sure. Awesome. And thank you so much for coming on here and bringing light to it. I think this might be like I don't like choose and make anybody feel bad, but this might be my most, like, my favorite one with you on the bullying topic.
Oh, thank you.
I love them all, but I really like the energy and how we just hit those,
Well, it's definitely a subject that I'm very close to home with since I went through it, and it's knowing that it's still going on is something that breaks my heart. But hopefully at some point, and maybe before I die, I can see positive change in the way schools handle the epidemic of bullying.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I think if people like us, we keep talking about it and put more action into it versus just talking, I think we will. Definitely. Well, I appreciate you, Michael, so much. And you're welcome here anytime.
Well, I certainly enjoy it, and I want to thank you again for all that you do for bringing bullying to the forefront. It's very important. And I think your reach with your listeners, it's something that can be commended, and I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, and guys, this is Michael Glenn Moore, City Like Yours, and we'll be talking to you soon.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody, listen up. I'm here to tell you about a podcast called A City Like Yours with host Michael Glenn Moore. You can find his podcast on Google Cast, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Cast, and many other platforms. And also his website, inacitylikeyours.com. So check him out, In a City Like Yours with Michael Glenn Moore.